I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well,
all right, Debation Nation, what's going on? We're all back. Do a quick introduction, see who's out here. Who we got?
Chill.
Chuck D.
Will.
X.
Ernest Lee. So we are back. We got some special guests, some newcomers, Will and X, and actually Chuck too. I'm sorry, lifetime friend, first time podcaster.
Thank you very much.
But the very special guest that actually was spur of the moment was Will the Bill. How's it going over there, Will?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Now, the reason that you came actually was because we just had a conversation in our inbox. It was just a couple days ago, right?
Right.
Because we kind of got off on the wrong foot, clear the air with the group masturbators.
Right.
Some trolls kind of pissed you off, took it the wrong way. Go ahead. I'm going to let you go ahead and explain yourself.
Okay. Well, originally, I was in a few groups, and I brought up issues about race in a couple other groups, and pretty much they were met with the same resistance as masturbators. The reason why I joined masturbators is because I figured when I saw the name of the group, I said this would probably be the best venue to have these discussions without a whole bunch of the same thing that I was going through.
BS.
Yeah. And man, when I put my first post up, I thought that we would be able to have a discussion without a whole bunch of BS.
You can say bullshit too.
Okay. Well, I was hoping not to have a whole bunch of bullshit in the conversation. And what is that girl's name?
Shannon Alexis Lynch.
Okay. She was the first one to come in with interjection, and it kind of pissed me off because people really didn't understand the sentiment of what I was saying, and they were just looking at it as me coming in on some Malcolm X or some Huey Newton type stuff, but that really wasn't the point.
Or some Michael Beatty type shit.
Well, I don't know Michael Beatty, so I couldn't say that I was coming in like him, but I found out later that he had been doing it for such a long time, and then when he stopped, here I come in.
Took the baton.
Right. And
doing what? What exactly is he doing? What does he do?
Well, he said that he for a whole year he made a bunch of posts debating.
Ruffle feathers? Is
Yeah.
That the goal is?
And I have been like the self-appointed rebel rouser. You know, this is everywhere I've ever been. You know, I kind of appointed myself as the person to say what everyone else is kind of like afraid to say. And I don't have a problem wearing that hat. My issue was, as I said, was that people didn't really understand where I was coming from, and that they were taking it as me just coming in as on some straight racist kind of bullshit. That wasn't the intention of what I was doing. But I'm one of those guys that if you come at me with some shit, I'm going to return it to you, and I'm not going to stop. And I do go out of my point sometimes to prove that I can be a bigger asshole than you.
Not me. Not me.
I don't know. We haven't gotten that yet, man. I'm a pretty big asshole.
Well, let me tell you shout out to Mike Beatty. We kissed him up today. Pause.
Welcome back.
But obviously we had some misunderstandings, and we'll get into that later, I'm sure, in the group. But what you did come into was the group was about a year old, and initially the group that me and Maul, Josh Maul, had the idea to do it. We wanted to have legit discussions about it. The whole controversy thing, we anticipated to be topics of race, homosexuality, politics. We didn't anticipate the level of trolling. We debated stuff together, and we would bust each other's balls, but we still stayed on topic, and that was the idea of the group initially. Well, when the group started, we didn't have any control over what other people said or did, and we didn't want to censor anybody either. So when Beatty came in, he came in, to have race conversations, but he was really trolling and poking, and I got it. Me and X were talking about this earlier. that he was just trying to piss people off on purpose. And after a while, it became his like shtick, if you will. And some people that had been in the group got it. Well, newcomers didn't. So if he posted something, white people are aliens, it was supposed to be funny, white people would get pissed, and they start going at it. So then it became, if any race discussions happened at all, it became an instant troll fest of fucking with each other. And so it became hard to have a legitimate, real, adult race conversation, which I would like to have. Like I know Sweet Deepa calls me the shit starter, which I'm not, if you can see at this point. I try to be the peacemaker as best I can and make light up subjects to get everyone to get along. And then it turns into a shit show. I can't help it anymore because I'm also not gonna.
She's playing the wrap it up music already.
Right, but that's what you walked into, and you know, I'm not gonna blame B. I know he'll probably be mad at me, but it's hard to have a real race conversation because everyone wants to out troll each other, like you said, and that's where we're at right now.
But there are some race discussions that I do stay away from. You know, if it's fact based, I don't have an issue with that. I'm not really into accusation and blaming. Blame is not my game. I don't get off into that because I really do believe I stand on my own merits and like whatever happened is probably something that I did if it doesn't work out for me. A lot of stuff that I say is kind of like based on experience. I was telling Kurt earlier, I went to Cass and I went to Cranbrook. And a lot of problems that I had, a lot of bad experience that I had come from the time that I went to Cranbrook. When I was young, I was really into weight training. And it was like, I could walk down the hallway. By the time I hit this corner here, it was like some white girl standing right there at the corner waiting to grab my arm as I walked by. The white RAs didn't like it, and the black RAs didn't like it. But it was like, at the time, I was like, we people, what's the problem? But when you face that kind of resistance on a daily basis, it kind of does shape your opinion. And at the time, I just wanted peace. I wanted to be left alone. And it seemed like when I quit dealing with the white girls, and actually I wasn't even trying to date them or had any interest in them. It was just like they were just the ones that grabbed on when I walked by. I mean, I'm a guy, so it was like an ego trip for me. So I was all for it. But I mean, to be honest, I never had an interest in dating white women. It's not due to prejudice or anything like that. It just wasn't my preference.
Right.
That's Will's backstory. So how does this pertain? What was the question about the group? And
No, there wasn't. I just wanted
you keep leaning in.
All I wanted him was to talk about those situations of why we've come to where we were at in the group. Obviously, like he was talking about, he had certain situations that formed his opinion. I wanted to just talk about race and how, us from different backgrounds, me and X were talking about, like, I can't even say his name, Thomas.
Mr. Thomas. Let's just say Mr.
Thomas
Thomas.
is not hard to pronounce.
Erasmus.
Yes, and me and him talk in our inbox, like me and you did. Me and him talk all the time about stuff and about how he's pro-black, but he's not racist. He just wants to see his people do better. And when we were growing up, my dad and my parents have always taught us to never judge anybody. Like my dad had a "fuck racism" shirt when we were like 10 years old, and that just stuck with me. Yeah. And I talked about it in the group. I never judged anybody, and we grew up around like gay people. We had gay friends that my parents had. I never gave a shit about anybody that had anything to, as long as they were cool with me. Fuck Kurt Chill, I don't like him.
Yeah, we got everything.
I got Kurt Chill, so he knocks out Boulder.
Right.
And but from my background and in the group, I talk about it being a social experiment. I do in some instances, and maybe a lot of instances, I feel like if we keep talking about it, at some point there's a breaking point where you got to decide what you want to do. You had that point. where you posted that topic, and I just like, I never really attacked you, but I was like you said, there's one common denominator of where the attacking comes from, and I wasn't picking on you, but I was like, you know, you can't keep yelling at me, you know, to moderate everybody. If everyone's yelling at you, you know, and then you deleted it. I think it wasn't me.
All right, I'm not a member of really any other Facebook groups other than the little fucking subgroups you guys keep making for messengers and shit. But
We're making that shit for you.
whatever. But is this different anywhere? When you get to 2,000 members, does it really matter? I mean, you're gonna eventually get assholes and obviously, you know, people that want to, you know, troll, what have you. So why was Masturbators different from the other groups that you're in? I mean, people go off, I'm gonna start my own group, and then when there's 20 people, it's cool. But when you get to that many people, you know, it's going to happen. I mean, it's inevitable. So do we moderate it? Do we just let it keep? Because we're going to keep growing, and we're going to have assholes again. So it's like you can't leave a group. It's just a group of people. You know, it's no different than just being in the world. So people say, Masturbators has races. It's like, well, no, we should have a lot of people. You know, that's all it is.
And that's what I want to talk about is that the reason that Masturbators is one of the groups that I think is difficult to have a conversation as well is because it's one of the only groups where it's almost 50-50 white and black. Like a lot of group where it's preliminary black, like the sports group room is primarily shut up, black, preliminary primarily. You know, so, you know, I think when it's 50-50, it becomes difficult to have a conversation like that because in the real world, like I was talking about as a social experiment, you can see how fucked up we are and how far apart we are as to really coming together to try to progress. And that's what I was getting at is, as fucked up as it is, it's just a reflection of what's going on in society. I mean, the group Masturbators, everyone talks about, like he said, being this racist group. But when you go outside, the same problems exist and the same problems happen. And it's hard, like me and him and Chuck can sit down here with you guys, with 3 black guys, and have a good conversation. But there's going to be one white asshole that ruins it for everybody, or one black asshole that ruins it for everybody.
Dembski should be here out of here.
Right, Dembski's going to fuck the whole shit up. And it's guilty by association. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can all get along, and then there's one motherfucking asshole that just fucks it all up for everybody, and then, all white people do this, and all white people do that, or all black people are in the stereotypes we get.
Well, see, here's one of the things, too. I didn't mean to cut you off, Kurt. I'm sorry. But one of the things that does bother me is that when I make posts, when I make statements, I'm very deliberate with what I say. I don't make blanket statements. I don't make statements where it's all inclusive, but that's the way it's always perceived. You know, I say something like, this is the thing that gets me. This is the thing that gets me.
This is your thing.
This is his thing.
This is the thing that gets me. When, you know, I could make a post or another black person could make a post about something that's socially relevant to black people. Then the next thing you know, here comes somebody, it never fails. The only people that I ever see bring into the conversation, well, I didn't live when it was slavery. No one said anything about slavery. And no one said anything about blaming white people for what goes on. You know, I have an issue. One of my other issues are, I absolutely detest those, I don't know if it's memes or if it's memes. I don't know what they call them.
Like
We debate that. We debate that all the time.
It's
We believe it's memes.
It's memes. I always thought it was
It's
memes.
like our debate band.
But you know when they,
That's the debate, that's the
I've been in that one too. They have
B&D is a joke if everybody
Right.
don't know.
they say I cannot stand the black people be like, or black women be like. You know, it's to me it's incredibly irresponsible. I mean, you know, we on the web. You know, and it's not limited to just a small audience. I mean, www is worldwide. So I'm like, you know, we get upset. You know, as black people, we get upset when someone white says something that's kind of related to one of these stupid ass memes, and they form an opinion based on this kind of stuff, and then, you know, black people put out stuff like, it was a guy I was debating with earlier today, where he put out a post about 70% of black women are unmarried. Is it because they are this and because they
Ali
are that?
Barnwell.
Yeah, Ali Barnwell. Okay, I was trying not to do that.
You can do
Oh, I'm
that.
gonna
Okay.
do it.
They know.
I'll do it.
I've known Ali.
Oh, really?
That there's a lot of guys in that group that I've grown up with,
Okay.
and Ali was like, he said, I really think that is like really irresponsible when you put stuff out here like this. So I asked him, I said, okay, well, if that's true, why don't you cite your source? Why don't you put it out here? Because I don't believe in percentages. I don't trust percentages. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, and if a survey was taken with us, and 2 out of the 6 have an opinion, then it's going to be like 66% look at it this way, and the rest don't. But unless you get actual numbers, it's kind of deceptive. It's not really saying anything. So I asked him, I said, well, why don't you cite your source? Then I checked it out myself. Mm-hmm. One site says 72%, another one says 50%, another one says 60%. So that kind of proves the unreliability of his information. And when you put stuff out here like this, one thing about it, if I saw a post where someone white says, well, white women this, white women that, I would say, well, he's speaking from authority. I mean, who knows white women better than a white guy? So when white people see stuff like this, not just limited to white people. I mean, when white, black, Hispanic, when they see stuff like this, they say, well, this guy's speaking from authority and intimate knowledge, so why wouldn't I think that this is how it really is? So, and that bothers me. That a lot of times, and Kurt and I've had this discussion too, where I get upset over the indifference.
Well, you can lean back and just stay off the table and then start back from where you're at. I'll edit it out later. You're gonna get a lot of that noise.
It's a lot of I don't care, and truthfully, I have to come to terms with everybody don't share the same passion that I do, and that's where a lot of my problems come in too, because I'm like, why is anybody else sharing the same outrage that I'm sharing? Well, it's like Kurt said it, Sweet D with Tia said it. Everybody's not going to look at it the same way you do.
Right.
So just leave it alone. People that are going to receive it positively will. The people who don't won't. So
trying to make change on the internet's an uphill battle. Anyways, I commend those for trying. I don't, because people are just
It's
fucking
almost
idiots,
pointless.
and especially on internet and Facebook, and we want to talk about citing facts and memes and all that. People won't even click on a link; they'll just believe what they see. So God bless you for trying to change it. But a Facebook group, to me, it's just, for me, it's more just it's fun. There's good conversations. It's cool to see, but they're very rare to see. I mean, most of it is just always going to end up in bullshit and shenanigans. And
going off of that though, is I do believe that you continue that same passion, because I have a passion to help out, like just for everybody to get along and kumbaya and all that shit. But realistically, I do. But the thing is when someone disagrees with me online and someone doesn't share my point of view and they call me an asshole, like I get called all kinds of names. They all call me all kinds of names, and I don't take offense to it. And that's where I differ, when I don't get it. When someone's like, they want me, like when we had the discussions at the beginning, I should moderate. Well, why can't, for example, we had that couscous troll that was a catfish or whatever the case may be, and even when you and Shannon go at it, or Congleton, and when you two were going at it, it's like, well, when is the other person going to be the adult and just be like, you know what, I can just walk away? Because when I have these debates about race, or I have my point of view, and even whether it's about Jordan and we're talking about basketball,
Or Iverson,
whatever the case may be, I don't call people names. I mean, unless I know them, I might say, oh, Chill, you're an asshole, just because he knows I'm busting my balls. But if I don't know you, I won't call you stupid, or I won't call anybody a name. If someone calls me a name, I feel like I've actually either won the debate, or they're not intellectually advanced enough to have a conversation with me. So I just breeze by it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, clearly you can't have a conversation with me. You don't have an intelligent comeback besides calling me stupid, fat, gay defender, or whatever the case may be. And so my passion,
Or Sambo.
whatever the case may be. What I was gonna say though is you keep that fight. You just ignore the ignorance and you continue that fight. You don't buy into it because I feel like that makes you, not you personally, but anybody that gets in the conversation that bites by the idiots. You get to that level. I try to stay above it and keep riding through it. And that's when I was trying to get, now we've had the conversation, I think we're on the same page, get through is rise above it. Fuck those assholes.
That's where I was going to go with what you just said, Will. I mean, you got 80%, if you look at all your posts and all those comebacks that make you upset, I guarantee 80% of them are the same people. Right. And they can't get through the thick skull, and that 20% over here might agree with you, probably agree with you. That's 80%. I'm not going to name any names, but you know who you are.
You can name names, Chuck. It's okay.
Hey.
Fuck Congleton. Fuck them all.
The mic's here, you're there. Stop it.
That
Mark's
Tupac.
throat in the mic.
Boss, I know you do not have to.
Fuck
Trying to get Bodine.
bad boy.
See, what I realized is that when the name calling stuff does happen, and I bite, what made sense now doesn't, because people are not focusing on what I'm saying, but now they're looking at and see this is kind of me going back to school. It's like everybody saw what they said. No, nobody saw them, but everybody's paying attention to me. And I'm like, it pisses me off. It's like I'm saying something and I'm really trying to get through to people. It's like, because one of the things about it is, as long as people are afraid to get into that conversation, a lot of the same ideologies and sentiments is still going to exist. So I like, maybe if we can get into an open dialogue where people can have an honest discussion, put out the stereotypes that we have about one another, then maybe we can confront each of the stereotypes and say, well, I say white people only eat mayonnaise. You come in,
Miracle Whip.
Oh, Miracle Whip.
then you come in and say, look, we eat Miracle Whip.
Yeah.
Then they say, well, all black people like fried chicken.
Not true.
I say that's not
Fried
true.
chicken.
I don't
I
eat
like
fried
it baked. But if we have that discussion and then we put this kind of stuff out here, then we can all address it. Like each thing that's thrown out, we can address it individually and kind of clear the air. But it always never fails. When you get out here and you start saying something that kind of makes sense, that's relevant to what's going on now, either slavery is going to be brought up.
Get over it.
Get over. I hate.
That's the one problem I have.
Accent.
Like, get over it is some bullshit.
Get over it.
Yeah, it is.
That's some
It
bullshit.
is. It is.
I hate to hear that one. Now. I mean, if you say, well, and I feel like if it's not you, then you don't have to defend anything.
Well, the thing is, having BD do this shit every day, all day, they're on the defensive, because from BD doing it all day, every day, then you come in and you do it 89 to 99% of the day. Now they're looking like, okay, I'm being.
Steve was the other 90, so.
They're looking like I'm being attacked again.
Right.
Because with BD, it was an attack. Although he's trolling and he's looking for a reaction, it's still an attack to someone who doesn't know him. So when you come in and you do the exact same thing, oh yeah, you're gonna get people who comment and be like, well, I'm not racist, or it wasn't me, it was my great, which who gives a fuck realistically, but it is what it is. Other than get over it, I could care less.
What it does,
get over it is, to me, is just
what is.
I mean,
white boy correction there. What it is, at least to me, is, and whether that's not with you or with BD or whatever, but it's when you trivialize actual legitimate race issues. When you keep seeing these things like the monkey on the shirt or whatever, which to me was completely one of the stupidest.
yeah.
It's just really, that's the problem. Let's talk about real racial issues and money for pay or job or whatever, or incarceration, or real facts. But when you trivialize it, you just talk about these stupid things, and you want me to get in an uproar. I'm sorry, I'm not going to. And then when you bring up something legitimate, some people are gonna be like, it's just the same. I don't care because it's the same. But maybe it's not. Maybe the one time. So it's the boy who cried racism type of thing that a lot of people do when you keep pounding people every single day. And like I said, for me, I understand there's plenty of racism still in the world. Absolutely. It's the comedian that says, I'm not racist, but it's good to be white. We do have it easier to a degree, obviously. But like I said, when you trivialize the shit with the stupid, monkey on a shirt, like monkeys cannot be used in conjunction with black people ever again for anything ever. It's just, to me, that just makes it,
like
people turned
the
off.
Planet of the Apes. Right. I don't even know where the post came from. It was a post. You commented on it.
It was Sweet. I was pointing you for Sweet Diva because you guys know each other from. Okay, she posted.
Are you Sweet Diva?
No, but she. I hope not, because I saw her in Beauty's group doing some. Anyway.
Oh boy.
I hope that's not true. But no, she posted about, and I agreed with it. The Planet of the Apes movie did have some racial undertones that I got. It was like,
Well,
the apes were the black people, not trying to say it. But
this is my thing about racial undertones.
The white people, whatever.
If you're looking, you can look at anything you want to look at, and if you're looking for a racial undertone, you'll find one.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that there was really a racial. You can create
I meant
it.
race relations. It wasn't a racial undertone.
Oh,
I meant relations.
Okay.
Relationships.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did word it wrong. I meant a relationship between two separate. In this case, they were species, but races that. Where there was a couple people that were trying to get along, and there was a couple people trying to pull them apart, and that's what I was talking about with this conversation. In the same sense, is like we could all get along and want to work together, but then there's going to be 6 other motherfuckers, white and black, that are trying to pull us apart, and it's so hard to get everybody on the same page, and that's the problem. And I did want to say shout out to Adam Dale, because the quote that he said to me is never gonna. He said it like in the group. He said, "Racism." Shit, what the fuck did he say now?
Man.
What the fuck is quota?
You just said it's never gonna
leave my mind until
And
we
then-
read this
No,
book.
now I recollect it.
I will never forget what he said. What
Goddamn
the fuck did he
Captain
say?
Morgan's. But I'll think about it. Racism is like trouble. If you look for it, you're gonna find it. There it is. Shout out to Adam Dale. Sorry about that. I had some
We'll
Captain
edit
Morgan's.
that so it sounds like.
But
you're
that is a good quote. Racism is like trouble. If you are looking for trouble, you're gonna find it. If you're looking for racism, you will find it. And that's kind of the thing about the monkey. If you're looking for racism, you're gonna find it. To me, that was just like it was.
Okay, under the radar, is this racist or not? Bell Tire, the Michelin Man, and the Bell Tire both are white. Why? There's no white tires. Shouldn't they be black, right? The Michelin Man and.
They was trying to be neutral to avoid the, the racism.
I think
I'm trying to see that one. I see that every time. I'm like, there's
was
no
black. It
yeah,
would have been
no-
an issue. I mean,
I think it would be.
one of the things that I will say this: if you give black people something to complain about, we will.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, especially like with the monkey thing, historically speaking, I mean, we look at old ads and advertisements. Whenever they have, it's always some visage of a black person being portrayed as like an ape, or they have ape-like features. So, yeah, we are kind of sensitive.
That one,
to
come
that.
on. In this
No,
particular
it's
case,
true.
baby clothing, you can't.
I mean,
you can't say.
now listen. I really believe that the employee that set that display up was trying to be funny.
Well, it wasn't a display. It was just hangers of shirts. Anyone could have took a picture.
It was a black
right?
head
Right.
on the shirt.
Do you believe that there was no white heads on monkey shirts anywhere?
You know what?
Do you believe that
I didn't
could have
see any of it.
Right, you're judging by a picture. I could have went to that store and set it up any way I wanted to. He noted that there looks like there was a white behind there with the monkey suit. You're basically saying you cannot affiliate black people with any form of primate period ever again, or else it's racist. That makes no sense at all to me. When it's, remember the LeBron SI cover where he is holding the white model, right?
Yeah.
What did people say? Oh, it's King Kong. He's the big, strong black guy. She's the helpless white girl. Boom, another one. That one is a whole separate argument. But for me, this is kids outfit, a baby's outfit that monkeys are part of it. There's whatever. It's a fucking alligator or it's a little, whatever it is. You're basically saying, if you're gonna have models, the black guy can't be involved. That's all. That's all got to be.
Like I said, if you look for it,
there you go. I mean, and that was, and again, that was a perfect example of trivializing real, legitimate shit that we could be talking about. That post had what 300-400 replies. Maybe we could have 300-400 about something, legitimate. The rate of incarceration. The real shit. But that is such to me.
But see,
just
now, like you said, when you bring up those trivial posts. Mm-hmm. They go on for days. Mm-hmm. They go on for days. I was telling Kurt in the inbox, I have 4 different groups that I'm a part of. Each group is like a different demographic, each one. I post the same thing in every group just to see the reaction from each one. If it's something that's like positive or something that really is relevant, may get 2 or 3 comments. But if there's something that's like placing blame or accusing, you're going to get 3,000 comments. and not only are you going to get 3,000 comments, the first 5 may be related to that topic. By the time you get to that 6th comment, it's going to go off this wall, this one, here, and never back to where it's supposed to be.
That's because it's chaos, and people enjoy chaos. It's human nature. Like I told you last night, me, personally, I got tired of every day B posting the exact same shit. I told him that. But, like I told you last night, personally, I miss it because it was funny and it was chaos. And so I got bored. That's where Richie Freeman came from. Like, fuck this. We're going to have some fun here. So
Richie Freeman is hilarious.
You need the chaos. You know what I mean? It's just, you got to edit that. But you need it sometimes, And the thing about it is, it's human nature. Like I said, people enjoy that shit. Like, people live for drama.
The Divas thing that everyone talks about.
Exactly.
It was Thomas, I'm fucking his name.
Harassment.
In that post is that it used to be, what?
What's so hard about that?
I'm drinking, so leave me alone.
Man.
Shut up. So, but he talked about the Cosby Show. It was like old images, and now I read it. I didn't comment on the group. Like how that's the thing that sells, and that's what people like to see is a hip hop diva shit. Back in the day, it was the Cosbys in a different world, and that's no longer.
Even Family Matters. The black shows now are all the Taylor Payne. What am I thinking of?
Yeah, with
Tyler
Perry. I think those shows were kind of like trying to break away from certain stereotypes, like Family Matters and Cosby
Show. Black families that don't talk like BET. All those sitcoms to me are the same exact.
I can't stand those shows. I wish they were banned. I cannot
sitcom era though. Like if you look at it, like you didn't just have Family Matters and Cosby Show. You also had Family Ties, and you had Who's the Boss, and you had all those other. That was the sitcom era. So black people said, hey, let's go ahead, let's make our own sitcom.
Right.
Let's make a sitcom, on how we live life. But now it's like the sitcom era is over. So you look at it now, it's like reality shows. Everybody talk about, well, black people jump on these reality shows and degrade themselves. Well, black people didn't start reality shows first. Right. From my understanding, if I'm wrong on this, correct me, but I remember the reality show era starting with the Anna Nicole show and the Surreal Life thing.
The real world.
But that don't count. But that was like kind of like a prototype, though. That was kind of like a prototype. Celebrity-wise.
Survivor really kicked it in our nose.
Real World started it, and then it was good.
These reality shows are scripted.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way anybody can be that fucking stupid.
Right.
There's a way, but
it's tuna fish.
But
it's chicken.
Right. I mean, they are stupid, but they play to that as well.
And it's the stuff that people enjoy. I have not been able to wrap my head around why do you want to see black, white,
alien
acting fucking stupid. I mean, it's like
People love a shit show.
I don't
Train
understand.
wreck.
TMZ, look at TMZ
Making you
is-
feel better
is,
about your own life. I think
That's one of my
yeah.
unfavorite shows.
I don't watch any
I
of that
think
shit.
it's I
I
think
don't
it's a
watch
lot
reality
of
What, TMZ?
yeah. I think it's a lot of undertone, a slick racist stuff on
I
there.
don't watch that. I don't watch any reality TV. I mean, I barely watch TV. I just watch sports and shit. But I do want. I've told this story.
You watch
plenty
the
of
one where the
times.
guy keeps leaning into the mic when he doesn't have to.
Yeah,
What's the name of that show?
that's called Masturbation Nation. But I've told the story plenty of times. I want to tell. Me and X just talked about earlier, is that within the group, race discussions have made friends out of people. After we talk about that breaking point where it's like, you realize either this motherfucker's just joking and they're actually on my same team or whatever the case may be. Princess and me in the sports group room had a big race discussion. It was when the Tiger Woods and Sergio chicken topic happened. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're
Where
talking about,
he made a joke about the chicken. You know,
Yeah.
Sergio something, right?
Yeah.
I
I don't remember the exact.
I know- I know-
remember.
Right, it was a
that,
year
yeah.
ago. And I actually did this as an experiment, talking about social experiments, is in that group, I posted David Chappelle's skit about black people loving chicken. You know what I'm talking
I
about?
do.
Where he's like, he walks in, you're gonna have the chicken.
Yeah.
How'd you know? Come on, buddy. As soon as
Yeah.
you walked in them goddamn doors.
Turns out I'm genetically predisposed to liking chicken.
My social experiment was the white guy posts a black guy's joke about chicken. Let's, in a predominantly black group, let's see if I get shit. I didn't say anything
You did, didn't you?
from Princess. Princess fucking got in my ass, pause. She just went at me and said it wasn't right. And I was like, I didn't say anything. I posted a funny skit from David Chappelle that everybody should think is funny. But if a black guy posted that, what would be the problem?
On the floor. Well, honestly, me myself, I probably take more offense when black people make those kind of posts, because like I say, you know, it's a certain responsibility that you should take, you know, when you do this kind of stuff, because as I said, you know, it's like this is the authority, he's putting it out here, so it has to be true.
Let's bring it home here. We'll keep recording.
No,
I'll
no,
edit this
because
out since they're fucking.
No, I
watching.
keep talking real quick.
Let's have an
edit that.
outro. So start fresh.
No, well, no, I'm not gonna start fresh. I want to keep talking about that was because my topic, the point I was gonna make is that now me and Princess are really good friends. He, X,
Man,
when he was in the group, when he first started, same shit as you experienced. Like he just saw a lot of racial undertones and a lot of sarcasm that people don't get. When see a lot of people that have been in the group for a while, they all fuck with each other. And somebody new comes in and they don't see that, like Dembski dropping N-bombs. I'm not cool with that, by the way. But, you know, after a while, people just know he's an idiot and they get that. So, but X came in, he was in there for a little bit, he left and came back 3 times.
Yeah.
Because he thought I was running clan meetings. out of
yeah,
this
I
group.
thought it was like a racial group, like, you know, or like it was just like to the point where they just like talked about black people, and you know, basically it was like a meeting where they just talked bad about black people, because it wasn't that many at the time. It wasn't that many black people in the group. You probably had Princess, Beatty, of course, Calvin, but he didn't comment that much, so I didn't know he was in the group. You know, so it wasn't that many of them. So I'm saying, you know, I remember my first comment on that post. I said, I see what this bullshit is right here.
I was like, oh boy, we got a live one.
So, you know, and that's when it was like, you know, okay, you know, I kind of like, at that point, it was like, I had all I need to know. Like, you couldn't convince me at that point. And, you know, like I was saying earlier, you know, I eliminated myself out the group, and I was like, well, you know what? Fuck this group. Fuck everybody in this group. You know, but it kept popping up on my timeline. You know, I kept seeing it on my timeline. I kept seeing, you know, people masturbate. Because I had friends on my friends list, I was in masturbator. So I'm like, this group keep popping up on my timeline. Then I started seeing, I would see stuff, you know, but I would watch it from afar or whatever. Then, you know, this was around Black History Month, you know, when I seen it or whatnot. I seen one girl, Allison Johns, and she was talking about Black History Month. And, you know, I don't celebrate Black History Month. I feel like it's a waste of time because, you know, to give you a little bit about that, growing up, you know, from kindergarten, we talked about what I like to call the mainstream blacks, you know, the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X, the Rosa Parks. You know, we talked about them. every year, you know. And then it was like, you know, every year was the same thing. I had to find out really about the real black leaders like the Medgar Evers and the Marcus Garveys. I had to find like about them on my own.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know what, this Black History Month is a bunch of bullshit because we sit up here and talk about black people in history for 1 month. As soon as March 1st comes, it's over.
Right.
So it's like, it's a bunch of
And
bullshit.
the shortest month, that is kind of
Exactly,
the shortest
you know,
month of the
That's
year.
the one time that you will never see me make a post
Yeah.
Right.
related to anything black.
Right.
Bullshit.
Because I'm like Xavier said, it's a waste of time. I mean, Black History is all year long.
Yeah.
So why do you, now everyone wants to have this discussion in February, but it's off limits the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. It's a double standard that I really don't appreciate is how black people could put up, like I said, one of those old fucked up vitriolic memes about other black people. It's cool. If a white person puts up the same meme because they think it's funny, then it's an issue. But I think it should be an issue for white or black. I think anybody that sees it should have an issue with it, and instead of just, okay, when somebody white put it up, it's all hell breaks loose. But the same hell don't break loose when someone black puts up the same.
Hold up.
All right, so welcoming in Rico, my neighbor here, to the show. Sorry, I can't talk. It's the Captain Morgan's here. But
Yeah, well, afternoon to late, man.
yeah, right, exactly. But building off of what we were just talking about, with X talking about me being the Grand Wizard within the group, and now that we've come to an understanding, we're actually pretty cool. He's writing blogs for us, now here doing a podcast. I wanted to ask this. We asked this on the last podcast. We didn't get a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say reaction, but responses to the question was from a white person's perspective. Within the black community, why is there so much dissension within the black community as far as light skin, dark skin, Uncle Tom, Sambo, etc.? And what we were just talking about a little bit off the recording was from a white man's perspective, looking at it from almost like a relationship kind of perspective. How can you expect somebody to love you if you don't love yourself? Within that black community, there's so much hatred. So
I think Rico blames white people for that, right? That's
right, and you guys can all talk about that. I just want to hear what you guys have to say about that conversation.
Welcome myself to the podcast. Hi, Rico. Hi, Rico. How you doing? I think that's a question that's long been debated historically, you know, in the black community, white community. And I think sometimes white people see that and they use that as a reason for saying, why do you have a problem with me thinking or doing this if you're doing the same thing? How can you be upset at me for treating you in this manner if you treat yourself in such a manner? You know, and that's like really the ultimate question, what you're asking. But there's an individual scope of it, then there's a societal scope of it, then there's a historical scope of it. So you have to be able to look at it on different levels. You know what I mean? You got to think of like racism. Historically, it's like an infection that was introduced since the inception of man. But this infection introduced by society, white people, not you all, but you know, white folk.
You all.
You know,
It was my fault.
not y'all, not my neighbor, but the other neighbor, my ex-neighbor. But yeah,
My great.
you know what I mean. But it's
great granddad.
it was introduced and as a, you know, as I don't know if it's purposely done, because I don't know if you can credit anybody with being that fucking smart to think like, you know what, we're gonna infect this race with this self-esteem issue, and we know that's gonna last for however many centuries it lasted.
Right.
I just think it's something that sometimes just like when you have kids and you let them fight and see who the toughest. You say, oh, we got them fighting over this, but we get to chill out and watch TV while they go in the room and fight and kill, and kill
Right.
themselves. It's not a fucking problem.
Right.
We don't do anything about the problem. We may have introduced the TV show that they're watching that they're fighting over, but it's not my problem. Then we say something to y'all about it. Then it's like, well, you all fighting over the same shit.
Right.
So why you getting mad at me when you fighting with yourselves about it?
Right.
But you're not taking into account that it's your television.
Well, just
you're a
to
TV show.
what about this? to quote, Tupac, GOAT, right? In the song "Only God Can Judge Me," he says, they say it's the white man I should fear, but it's my own kind doing all the killing here. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, but that's a literal sense. Literally,
Right.
it may be the black man pulling the trigger against another black man,
Don't look at me,
but
sir.
you can say who supplies the bullets and the guns, who owns that shit.
Okay.
So you got to look at it from both perspectives. You know what I mean? We should not be doing that to each other,
Right.
but we also didn't necessarily invent gunpowder and you know and all that kind of shit also.
But
So
you don't need to pick up a gun.
Yeah, I agree with that. We didn't invent the gunpowder and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, if somebody came downstairs right now and handed you a knife, you're not gonna stab everybody.
True
So
that. True that.
that's bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like people do what they do because they want to. I mean, at the end of the day, just to simplify it, everybody do what they do because they want to. Everything that I've ever done as a teenager or younger adult, I've done just because I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, but you can't.
People make excuses and say, well, I did this because, well, this was the situation I was in, or the white man did this, or my parents. This is just bullshit excuses. And even online, it's people in the group who do and say shit and they blame it on something that they're dealing with in their personal life. And that's bullshit. Just be like, I wanted to do it and I don't give a fuck. Because then I'll have more respect for you. Because everything I do and say, I do for a reason. And it's my own reason because I don't care. I do what I want to do because that's what I want to do. And people have a problem admitting that shit. You can't say, well, yeah, black on black crime is because... I've said it before, but black on black crime is because the government dumps guns in the inner cities. I mean, if the guns weren't there, then, you know, then we'd have to commit black on black crimes in another way. That's all it is. You can't say it's because of the guns. When you can't say, yeah, well, Reagan pushed drugs through the community, but he pushed it everywhere. Number one. Number two, you got to look at the fact that nobody said you have to get out there and sell drugs. Like, I tried to rationalize with myself before, like, yeah, I'm doing this because, but realistically, that's bullshit. You know, it sounds better and it makes you feel better inside. I guess it don't make me feel better. I don't care. But, you know, I guess you could say, yeah, if you want to look at it however you want to look at it, is you can take what you want to take for it. But then you just playing yourself and you fooling yourself at the end of the day because it's not reality. You know, so and that's what people in general do. They look for somebody to blame. Well, it's not my fault. It's his fault. It's her fault.
I noticed, you know, when I wrote that blog about Michael Jordan in the black community, you know, I noticed that, you know, growing up in the black community, of course, because I'm black, you know, I noticed that, you know, black people, they point the finger. They find, it's always, we find somebody to blame for what we do. You know, growing up, kids getting killed over Jordans and shoes, you know, we find some. It was Michael. It wasn't the fact that it was the cat that wanted the shoes so bad that he felt the need that he had to pull a trigger to get them. It wasn't, the blame wasn't put on the parents for not teaching their child how to make an honest dollar versus going out here robbing. The blame was on Michael Jordan, Phil Knight, and the marketing of the Air Jordan brand. You know, it's like, how can we blame, you know, people for stuff like we not responsible for what we do to our own people, you know? I noticed that growing up, you know, like this one cat tried to tell me, well, maybe if the shoes wasn't so high, Michael Jordan shoes were so expensive. I told him, you know what? You could use that if it was true, but it's not true because Michael Jordan, I'm in his shoes, so you can't run that bullshit by me. Michael Jordan shoes wasn't the most expensive shit. David Robinson shoes was $200.
You
Penny,
mentioned
and
Cartier.
when the first first phone boxes came out,
They was
$200.
You mentioned Cartier glasses or the Kanye white tees, whatever it is.
Remember True Gym shoes? They wasn't $2.
Huh?
True Gym shoes back in the day.
Oh no.
They was shit. That was a bill and such, right?
Now, I was gonna say one of the things that when it's tried to be explained about all the dissension, it's kind of hard not to have that Willie Lynch letter is always brought up in these discussions. One thing that I found out about the Willie Lynch letters, number one, is the hoax. It's not even real. Willie Lynch was never even mentioned, ever. You cannot find Willie Lynch before the Million Man March. This is what Farrakhan put out there. But I will say this. The sentiment is real.
even though that letter isn't true, there is a thing where you see it all the time where it was this one group I could not stand on Facebook. It's called Relationships 2.0.
Know all about it.
And one thing that I absolutely detested about that group is every time you see a post, it's
light skin, dark skin.
I cannot stand it.
I know.
I cannot stand it, and it's like it's not white people saying this.
Mm-hmm.
It's us that's saying this about each other, and it's like you hear it enough. And it's going back to what I said earlier, and what Rico was just saying, is that if we say it, it's taken like we're speaking from an authority. So if you hear us constantly saying it, then you have to say they black, they know what they're talking about. So obviously, it has to be true. It's coming from a black man or a black woman's mouth. So if you guys, as I said earlier today, if you guys were saying stuff like all white women this, all white women that, somebody from the outside looking in would have to say it got to be the truth. I mean, they're saying it. So if they are saying it, where's the lie coming from? They live this every day. But the thing always was like light is closer to white. The from the degrees of darkness from light to dark. It's like the lighter you are, the closer you are to white, the better the opportunities are for you. I'm pretty sure everyone here is aware of like the paper bag test. If you're not, what it was like when they would like go to public pools and stuff like that, they had a paper bag, a brown paper bag, and they would put the paper bag up to you. If you were lighter or at least matched the color of the paper bag, you were allowed into this public pool. If you were, years ago, I could have made it in. I couldn't make it now.
I have no chance, Alex.
But, this is the kind of stuff that we had to deal with. And I do believe that there was an actual effort to kind of undermine how we related to each other. On one hand, I think we do give white people too much credit when we say that they totally systematically created this environment to where it's all bad for black people. And I mean, to be honest with you, to a degree, I almost agree with it. But on the other hand, I cannot blame every single thing negative that happens on white people. I mean, a lot of stuff that happens to us as black people, we do ourselves. We do it to ourselves, and that's the bottom line. That's the truth.
Speaking of ourselves, I just want to real quick is as a white person, when I see white people do dumb shit, I just laugh. I know no one's gonna relate it to me, but as 4 black men here, when you guys see some dumb shit, do you just kind of facepalm and shake your head like, motherfucker, like this is gonna, come, like you're almost like representing an entire race where white people don't get that at all,
Because you guys are now under the same spotlight.
Right.
A point though, real quick. Let me just.
Yes, I do.
Right.
More so because now I have a son who's 2 years old on Tuesday. What's up, Jay?
What's up?
Get into his point, which is really key. There's like two different perspectives. Some white people have what I call the light switch perspective. As if all of a sudden in 1964, 1965, when the Civil Rights Act was passed, you flipped the switch, all of a sudden everything became equal. Everybody's philosophies and personalities changed. Everybody started loving each other, kumbaya, and all this other bullshit. Everything became equal. We all could swim in the pool together. All the businesses started hiring niggas, and everything was great. You know, we all got along. We started marching together. That's not what the fuck happened.
Right.
You know, that's fact. Legislation is one thing. Let's say in the person's historical perspective and personalities is another. Then on the other end, some black people, on the other end of the light switch perspective, for them, the light switch never came on at all. And so, since they can't cut on their own light switch in their own houses, that means individually, as yourself, taking control of your circumstance and saying, like my man saying, making a conscious choice not to do dumb shit to fuck up your own life as best you can. Yeah. They just act like the light switch never came on in the first place. They don't take advantage of this. They keep pointing the finger at y'all. Instead of saying, you know what? No offense to y'all, but fuck you. I'm not going out there to rob anybody, kill anybody, because I believe I'm a better man than that. I'm a husband and a father. Fuck a white man making me act like some idiot. You know what I mean? No, I represent something higher than that. So I'm not interested in acting like that. And so some black people can't let that shit go because they need somebody to point the finger at. They feel shitty about themselves. They can't look at themselves. You know what? Oh, wait a minute. We were slaves 125 years ago. I see people still marching and complaining or whatever. Hey, the white man got me held down. He's the reason I'm on food stamps, yada, 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 yada. You didn't pay your parking ticket. You got no driver's license, so you can't apply for this job. You keep smoking weed. You keep failing drug tests because you don't know how to pass this shit. Well, it's the white man because he grow the weed. You know what I mean? So it's a balance that we got to try to find. Right. You know, it's the light switch effect. Like y'all act like not you two, but some of y'all act like the light switch cut on, everything became fucking fair. And then some people still in the fucking dark and they just like, you know what? I'm sitting here in this dark in the dumps. I'm in the Brewsters. I got to go find somebody. Let me go find Whitey. You know what I mean? So it's a balance, and it takes time.
And what were you just asking?
Well, like I said, my point, like I said, when I see dumb shit from white people, it doesn't really matter. I don't care. But I'm asking, do you guys, when you see a news story that says so and so two murdered, do you be like, don't be black, because you feel like
Yes, I do.
Every time,
I do.
Every time Kanye West opens his mouth, I'd be like,
yeah.
But you know what though?
But you
know what? This is how I feel. Whenever I see somebody doing some, I see a black guy. He might be sagging or talking belligerent in public, and it's not so much of me being embarrassed. It's just like I look at it and I say like, damn, it's so many of them like him, and it's not that many like me. I don't want people to think that this is how we all are. Right. So it's like. It's like a yeah and a no because I represent me, but I know how society is. Right. Society use one person. We not just with black with anything. We see one negative. Like I look at Detroit. You seen that whole little Tampa thing where good luck in Detroit where they showed the ruins in Detroit versus the beaches in Tampa where it's ghetto ruins everywhere. Right. So why the bag got to represent. If society was different, I wouldn't care too much. Right. Dumb motherfucker.
But really too. I mean, societally speaking. Almost anything that black people do is going to be a little more amplified. It's
a lot more, I'd say.
It's we could do the same thing that white people do, but it's going to be a brighter spotlight is going to be shined on what we do. Right. And the reality of it is probably 50-50. But this is what's being shown, right. And then it's probably dependent on where it is too. Yeah. I mean, there's a greater population of black people in Detroit, right? So any kind of negative press that happens in Detroit, 9 times out of 10 is going to be someone black because it's a larger population. Right. Yeah. Now you go to Iowa, and the same thing is done. Then there's white people doing it, but it's a smaller population, period. Right. And if someone black does something in Iowa, it's a smaller population that per capita as far as black people, but by being more white people here, black people are going to stand out a little more. So if something is done and then they see it, say, okay, all black people do this.
typical. The reaction you'll see in like, and I won't even name names because I think it's terrible that people even say that. You'll see a story and someone will LOL typical, but if you see a same, white people go nuts, kill their whole family, no one ever comes in there and says typical. That's never a reaction. But any sort of black crime, you're going to see certain people typical. And like I said, that's unfair because, like I said, there's. No,
but
it's the media, it's the news putting the 10%, all the stories.
You know who's saying typical though? We're saying typical.
Right. Maybe not saying, you're thinking it more than saying
I for damn sure say typical.
Right.
Like when, who was dude, the black dude that, the story disappeared real quick. He was out in the woods in a cabin somewhere. Saw some bullshit. I don't remember what the story was about. The bald-headed guy. No. Who? He killed somebody or some shit. And was on the run. Yeah. And
the bald-headed guy?
Dude.
I think his name. Damn, I forgot his name.
Because I don't watch the news.
You're holding your phone. I thought you were Googling it.
No, I wasn't. No, I want to take time out of
Man.
it. Not like platbar, but like all the way. Like,
I think his name Christopher something.
yeah, Christopher something.
It started with a D. I don't know.
Come on, Will, you should know.
These fucking phones.
I know you care.
What's the point? What happened?
But the point is, I just assumed that it was a white guy because of the crown that it was. So you know what I mean?
So just like
I was saying
sniper.
typical.
Really,
but,
when we
That's
hear
a crazy ass
when we hear
part.
somebody ate somebody up,
or even
or
like the DC sniper, I just assumed it was a white guy.
Right.
Like some shit you just assume.
Yeah.
So for me, being how I am, when people assume that a carjacking was a black dude, okay, that's what niggas do.
Right.
Like, I'm not mad. Like,
Yeah.
I could understand that. When somebody get eaten, I assume that it was
It's a
black.
white person.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, what the fuck?
Right. Well, homeboy across the street got chopped up. I knew damn well it wasn't one of us.
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't chop niggas up. We
But
just
when I hear it,
you know what I
We
mean?
might chop them up, but not like that.
Right.
then when you find out that it was somebody black that did it, you like,
You be like, stupid motherfucker.
I can't believe my feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
But when you hear it and you say somebody
But
black,
the DC sniper, I knew it was a black guy when they said he was riding around in a Caprice.
Yeah.
I knew it. I said, "Oh shit,
the
this
Caprice
might
gave
be
it
a
away.
brother."
yeah, when they said van at first, when they said van, I'm like, that's a white person. The white van,
Right there, down to a Caprice.
And y'all been watching Armada hookup, right? With the FBI and all that shit and about this stuff, right? Y'all know goddamn well it's a white boy. Y'all know that. They looking for all that
There's
stuff
black
shit.
people allowed in Armada.
Right. If it say Armada, nah, we don't do that.
Yeah, when I seen that Caprice, I'm like, "Oh, this might he might be black," but I ain't
the
saying
other
out
side
loud.
of that. Sometimes I'm insulted when they say it's a white person because I'm like, they act like black people can't be calculated.
Right, we can't be serial killers. Why not? We smart too. Shit. We could be Ted Bundy. What the fuck?
But I mean, realistically, I think it takes a certain type of mind to go down that road. And historically, white people are serial killers.
Actually, trick.
So, I mean, and that's a generalization, but realistically, is it? You have to look at it for what
Actually,
it is.
they chased the gene back. Eastern European, Scandinavian countries.
Yeah.
Serial killer?
Exactly. So,
I'm not mad.
Y'all have
I
any
don't work
comment?
He said, "I'm not mad."
I mean,
shoot up
so
theaters and
but my point
high
is,
schools and shit.
so
I'm not mad, but I'm.
Now every time I get into an argument and I get into an argument with somebody white and they talk about well, black people do this, black people do that. I say, well, y'all shoot movie theaters up and you go shoot schools up.
And you guys talk to the whole fucking movie. What is with that? I don't go to movies very often, but I swear, I mean, every scene, I'm like, I don't really.
Don't do it. Don't go in there.
But when that dude in the movie theater turned around and shot that dude for talking shit, I thought he was black. Cause that's some black shit right
That's
there.
No.
White guy did it.
Like,
That's some
yeah,
black
it
shit.
was a white guy.
this
It
is
was
the
an
thing,
old white
though.
guy.
Realistically, when I've been to the movie
I
theaters,
can see you like a talking motherfucker in the movies too.
and no, not at all.
Yeah, I can see it.
Everyone who talks in the movie theater, when I go,
piss me off.
it's a white guy.
Oh.
Or it's. I've never been to the movie theater, or although I don't go,
I don't go that often. But
I'll go to Birmingham
It's
and
always a black
fucking,
Shout out to see
Remember my wife saw
you
Planet
guys
of
go a
the
lot.
Apes? It
You
was
guys go a
somebody
lot. What would you
in,
say?
So-
right behind us, just
Exactly.
fucking black girl.
Yeah.
Be like, God
Now here I go with my shit. Something that I've observed. Now I went to go see 12 Years a Slave. Okay.
Oh shit, say it. Go ahead and say it.
Me and my date were like the only black people
Yeah.
in the whole theater. I've never been able to understand why it's like we stay away from that stuff.
Right.
You know, we don't like to see it, but when you go see movies like that, it's usually myself and whoever I'm with. But you look up and you see a sea of white people.
The Butler.
Yeah, the Butler.
Well,
It was
they were
like-
brushing, they were brushing up.
No, what? No, but then, what about the
Documentary.
what about the looks you catch when the movie's over, and the white people look at you and they be like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to whoop your ass like that, boo boo. I didn't mean to beat on you like that.
He said,
We
"Boo-boo."
love you now."
When I was 16, I was in a group home, and we went to go see Do the Right Thing. Before that movie was over with, we were with a white staff member. I say about 10 minutes left in the movie. You look over, he like this. He like, we gotta go, yo.
Freddie just cut out early. Like, honey, we gotta go.
He's like, yeah,
Maybe
he's like, I guess he associated the riot at the end of the movie. It was like, okay, all these black people in this theater. I'm the only white guy here.
You gonna whoop my ass.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
We had to leave. And it's like, I notice whenever movies, when I'm in the theater and I see movies like that, all the white people leave before it's over with. So they like, let's go.
That's funny you bring up Do the Right Thing. Honey, you hate when I watched it like 7 times when I was on Showtime, whatever. But that movie actually brings up a good point as far as what we're talking about. When Spike Lee talks to the dude about Prince and Michael Jackson, he's like, well, they're not totally black. They're different black. And that's what I'm kind of talking about. Is like from a white person's perspective, being too black, a little too white, shit like that.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Some black people act like you can't be black unless you done been through some shit. Like, you know what? If you ain't been whipped, hung, dragged by a horse, and been in jail for, trying to vote, you ain't really black. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you got to experience some shit. Like, you ain't been to prison, you ain't been in county, locked up, pulled over, profile, some shit like that. You really can't,
See, that's
You
what
can't
I'm talking
relate.
about.
Right.
For any other race that we talk about, we don't say he's not really white. They're not really Mexican because they're not cutting lawns.
But the big difference.
Funny.
But that's a big
in
difference.
one race, you know what I'm saying? That's just.
But it's one difference. In most instances, you're the oppressor, not the oppressed.
Right.
So it's a different. You're in a situation of power. You're the one who's pulling the person over, as opposed to being a person pulled over.
Right.
So you don't really have to worry about that. And that everything's to you on like equal grounds.
Do you think the greatest divide? I know, like in the Arabic community, due to terrorism and stuff, there's a little divide between that. Do you think the white and black obviously is the greatest divide?
It's green right now, baby.
It's what?
It's about money.
You think
It's just green.
You think it's
Green. If people
You
don't
say
wake
green?
up, green money.
Oh, I think it's a Korean.
No, I'm talking about green.
What did he do?
Korean.
Economic status. Economic status. If you can't look at what's going on right now and look at the way the voting laws have changed and the way wages and all of these kinds of things politically are going on, and you still stuck on somebody's color, you're not looking at somebody's pockets, the way the credit score has increased for certain things, you're not really paying attention to that kind of shit right now, and you stuck on whether or not somebody gets red in the sun when they outside for a long time, you're really missing a lot of shit, really, politically. They buying politicians now, really.
I mean, economically speaking, most of the people, and this goes back to the argument that we have all the time about who can be racist and who can't be racist. And I'm one of the first people that says black people can't be racist.
Bullshit.
Now, let me explain where I'm coming from on that. I say black people can be bigoted and they can be prejudiced. But when I speak of racism, I'm talking about racism as an institution. And I feel that racism is an institution that was created to hold everyone but a specific race back. White people. I mean, when we look at who holds the power, when we look at the 1%, are white people. And they set the tone, they kind of set the standard as where money does rule everything. I mean, money is the main motivator for just about everything that goes on. But it's the people that hold the wealth. And things are set up to where, okay, I give you an example. They built some, new condos that they built down there on Woodward, downtown. You can't even apply for residency in these places without, you have to have at least a bachelor's degree to even apply for residency at these places. Now, who's more apt to have?
Not me.
But when we sit up and think about it, okay, well, but as black people are probably not, and it's like I call it different codes. They code the way they regulate things, and they say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that because you don't have this or that. But 9 times out of 10, the people that don't have this or that are black people. Now, I'm not saying it's anyone's fault that black people don't have this, but these are the people that don't. So when they set this stuff up, 9 times out of 10, when you look at it, they're not going to be there.
Being in business, for me, I don't give a fuck how many black people or how many white people or Mexicans, Christina, had this or that. It's all about business. Like, if I feel like me allowing you to slide for not having what I need you to have is going to fuck up my business, then you're going to need to have it, period. So you can look at it the way you want to look at it. But, regardless, it's nobody's fault that you don't fit the qualifications that they want for their residency. And honestly, I won't lie, I was listening to Mark about some other shit halfway through, so I kind of missed what they said, like what you needed. But at the end of the day, regardless of what it was, you should have it. Like, if it's a place that you're trying to get into,
bachelor's degree.
You should have a bachelor's degree. Realistically, let me say this. You shouldn't need a bachelor's degree to live somewhere, right?
Right.
Listen. Why not have a bachelor's degree anyway? Why? You should have a fucking bachelor's degree, in my opinion. Because that was your opinion. So I'm going to give my opinion. I'm sure you disagree. But in my opinion, you should have a bachelor's degree. You should have, because the bigger problem in America, since we're talking about race, is education over everything else. None of the rest of this shit would matter if everybody was educated on the same level. So if you want to talk to me about, they shouldn't need to, no, they should have a fucking bachelor's degree. Because don't nobody know shit, because they not educated enough. So that's the biggest problem that we face, like, as a whole. It's not about racism. It's not about classism. It's not about nothing. It's all about education. And if everybody was educated on the same level, then everybody could see eye to eye. But since they're not, then it's confusion. And that's what it's always going to be.
But with that being said, you can't ignore the institutions that provide the bachelor degrees and say that racism doesn't exist, because the people who control institutions, Michigan, etc., whatever colleges it may be, or the economics, how much it costs to get a bachelor's degree at the University of Michigan now is about $250,000. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who are in control of those economics, that flow process that determine whether or not a person can get that bachelor's degree or eat, and they don't have a chance to apply for that thing. And real quick, we're talking about somebody's living status. Credit score is one thing. Do you need a bachelor's degree to have a 900 credit score? No.
This is my thing. We live in a who you know world. This is the who you know era. It don't, like, how many people we know out here making moves without a degree? I know more people struggling with degrees than successful without. We live in a who you know world, not a what you know. You know how many dumbasses is out here balling and, successful and making moves with power in the position of power? So
George Bush.
It's not even, well, he got degrees.
Went to Yale.
Yeah, but it's like, look at the shit though, man. It's like degrees don't even matter no more. This European curriculum don't mean shit.
Right.
It's like it don't mean nothing. Like, you know, it's so many people out here. It's people out here like got the ambition to start their own, do their own thing. Everybody's creating their own lane now. You know, it's more. I see more people investing in their dreams now than invested in that European curriculum for that damn piece of paper to get a job to get a job that they to potentially get a job. Not even get it. You're not. Let's be real. I mean, how many people in here got degrees?
None.
No one. You okay? Nah. Right. Okay.
I got the third degree once.
So how hard was it to get a job? Was it easy to get a job once you got your degree? It was hard as hell, wasn't it?
It wasn't hard to. It was hard. It wasn't hard to get a job. It was hard to get the job.
Exactly. It was hard to get
But
the
the
job
degree
because
was
once you got the
full,
degree, what did they say? Okay, now you need experience.
Yeah.
Now,
So you had to start from the bottom regardless.
I say this
Yeah.
about degrees though. It's the degree that you get. You get people out here. You get people with bachelor's degrees. Well, they have a degree. They have a bachelor's degree in philosophy. You're not going to go get a job in a Fortune 500 company because you are good at philosophy. You have to get a degree in a marketable field. It's not just about having that paper.
Can I ask you a real quick question? I'd rather have a person who delivers my son or daughter to the doctor having a degree than saying, you know what, you delivered some babies and shit.
See, this the thing. But see, this the thing though. When we talk about nurses and doctors, I don't really call them degrees. I just call them like
Skill trade?
them like vocations almost. Like you, that's a license. It's a license to do that. You almost guaranteed a job if you go to school to be a nurse. You almost guaranteed a job.
The reason we're talking about degrees, though, is the living in this place. We're on a whole other thing. Living, I know.
Well, that's the masturbated way, right?
The degrees was you have to get a degree to live in this place. Your guys' point was who has degrees? White people, you know. So that was the initial point of
this
degrees.
is my thing. I don't have a degree, and I have a couple businesses. And realistically, do I feel like I need a degree? Nah, not at all. But I'm in school still. Because I understand the difference in having a degree and not having a degree. Because you just said, yeah, it's just a piece of paper. No, it's not just a piece of paper. To an extent, it's just a piece of paper. But what you have to realize is how other people look at this piece of paper.
Right.
Yeah. Other people look at this, it's power. And so when you get to playing the power game, it's fucking chess. You make the right moves. So it's no reason, in my opinion, to not go and get a fucking degree. It's not hard. I mean, for me, it ain't hard. I don't know about everybody else. But to sit and go to school and get a degree, like, why not? That's every single time I think about it, I say, why not? It makes no sense not to. Like he said, certain degrees are, I mean, I'm not going to say useless, philosophy, but philosophy is what we do in the group every day. It's philosophy.
Right, but this is how I feel. It's like it all depends. Like he said, it all depends on what you get your degree in. Now, if you get a degree and you got a network that's in the arena of that degree, then you good. But if you get, like, you can't just sit up there and say, okay, I'm going to go to school 4 years, get this degree, boom, I'm powerful.
That's on the individual though. Who in their right mind? I mean, people do it, but I'm like,
you say white mind?
I said white mind or right mind? I heard white mind.
I could have said that. But who in their right mind, seriously, go to school and get a degree in something? Because personally, I would research how this degree does. You know, in the what the offers are in the field before I went and got it. But who in their right mind go and get a degree in something and they're not
The people that go in for the checks.
I mean,
Exactly.
no. But
Exactly.
because I'm certified in information technology and I went to Focus O too. But ask me, have I ever worked in that field? Never, and I never will because it doesn't interest me.
But you know the thing about degrees are good if you want to work for someone.
Yeah.
That's what college is.
Dependent. I'm majoring in psychology and journalism, and I'm majoring in psychology and journalism, and neither one of those majors I have to work for anyone. So it just depends on where you plan on going.
Do you know what degree's about? It's about Girl Scout cookies. It sounds crazy. What it is if somebody's sending Girl Scout cookies to you, and they in a Girl Scout uniform, you're more apt to look at the Girl Scout cookies. A motherfucker show up to you look like a hobo, dirty, smelling, but got the same goddamn shortbread, a wheat thins,
They got
whatever
Samoas
the
on
cookies
mine
is.
regardless.
Samoas,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You might be like, there might be poison or some
Scam.
shit. I don't even know if I'm a rap to about the Girl Scout cookies. But you'll buy them Girl Scout cookies from the Girl Scout for $3.50. They might be selling them for $3. But you might think they're a little bit more legit.
And that's all I'm saying. If I own,
you know what I mean?
If I own 12 condos, am I gonna get my rent every month from the motherfuckers without a degree or the motherfuckers with a degree? I'm personally gonna take my chances with the people who have the
Because
degree.
it has to
Despite the fact that they owe Sally Mae and they gonna be paying Sally Mae for 20 years.
I fixed credit, Samuel and Bona Financial Group. But I fixed credit, and at the end of the day, owing Sally Mae that means nothing.
I mean, you
People
fix
just
credit?
don't.
I need to write
Credit
that.
restoration.
I need to get with you though.
Okay.
Credit restoration.
Owing Sally Mae means absolutely nothing. It's all about taking the right steps.
Yeah.
I want to bring it home
to
real
not
quick.
own.
Bring it
Without
home
owning.
and circle back to Will. You said black people can't be racist. I just want to know, how do you define racism? Period.
I would like to answer that too when you're
And
done.
you guys can all answer that. How do you define racism?
I got a good
And
story
we'll wrap it
for
up. 'Cause you said they can't
I
be
looked it
racist,
up.
but how do you define racism? And
Okay, but when I say that, I say one of the main points that I make is that black people don't have the resources to be racist.
let's define.
Okay. When I say resources, the main thing I'm talking about is the finances. They don't have the same finance that you typically associate with white people.
Can Jay-Z be racist?
Is that your definition of racism? What is the definition I'm saying of racism? For a white person or whoever.
The definition of racism
To you, yeah.
for me is an institution created to hold to put one race up
Right.
and to hold others down.
Because by definition, the definition of racism is that you feel one race is superior to another. That's the definition of racism. So, in
That's like
my
bigotry,
mind-
though. No, I'm just, yeah.
No, that's
That's
by
closer
definition,
to
that
that's
is
closer
the
to
definition.
bigotry
Yeah.
and
No,
prejudice
look
to
up,
me.
I googled it and I put up
Wikipedia.
Right, Wikipedia told me the definition, Webster, whatever, of racism is one who feels their race is superior. That's the
Now, see,
definition of racism.
if we go to one source,
Well, that's what
you're going to get that.
right.
Then, if you go to another source, which is the one that I rely on,
Right.
is the source that says that racism, it defines racism as an institution, and I mean, you know, we all have our preference in what we hold on to and what we believe, and for me, that's the one that I hold on to because, as I said,
Is that the one that affected you most?
I'll probably say so. There's a guy on YouTube. He's a comedian. It's Amir. I can't remember that, but he's with. It's a comedy group. It's called Fear of a Brown Planet, and he defines reverse racism, and that. Now, see, this is the other thing. This kind of supports what I say about racism. Whenever black people do something that's perceived as racist, it's called reverse racism. So if it's reverse racism, that you could only conclude that racism is a white thing.
Right.
Shouldn't it be called revenge racism?
No. Reverse racism, what it means is this time it's not on us, it's on y'all.
Right.
I mean,
I agree. That's fair.
So how could it be called reverse?
Right. Well,
because you're reversing the racism from
right.
yourself to them. I mean, to sit and say that, yeah, only one race can be racist, or are you saying
Only black people can't. Yeah.
only black people can't? Exactly. That's my thing because
Can Mexicans or Asians
one of my
be
best
racist?
friends
I don't think Mexicans
or nobody else. One of my best friends is Arab and he's a fucking racist. Plain and simple. He, like, regardless of what he says about not being racist, he don't like white people, period. Plain and simple. No matter how he try to act like he had a white girlfriend. Yeah, but no, I don't give a fuck. You racist.
He's a bigot.
You won't. No. See,
No, bigot is propping up your own. You're saying he's downgrading the other, which is
yes. Black women, no. He don't even like Arab women.
He don't like himself, sound like.
The motherfucker crazy. Mark met him.
I did meet him. He is a little crazy.
Yeah, he a different type. He out his fucking mind. But you know what I'm saying. So
Jeffsky got along though.
yeah, because it's why.
I know why.
You know why.
Bumpity bump bump.
Yeah, bumpity bump bump. Sniffles. But shout out to my nigga Sniffles. So
They got that in common.
So I mean, I personally feel like anybody can be racist.
Then I think it's probably more personal belief.
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of what I was saying way back early in the podcast about the different levels of racism, how we view race. Because if you individualize it, of course that's racism from individual to individual. But if you institutionalize it and you say like systemically, you're speaking like systemically, economically, do you have the wherewithal to enforce your beliefs or and hold this group down while you keeping yourself at this certain level by stepping on somebody else. So I think it's like a matter of perspective, where you're at in your life and because like my wife, I'm from Selma, Alabama. I say this every podcast, by the way. Love you.
Shout out to Alabama.
36701.
Roll Tide.
Okay. I'm from Selma, Alabama. My mother stays 5 minutes from Edmund Pettus Bridge. I've walked on it. I was born in 72. I'm in my 40s. My wife is a Caucasian. She's pure white.
I hate Caucasians. Say
You know what I mean? White. She's not one of them wannabes because I can't do them. I just can't do the wannabes. She just is who she is, and that's why I love her. She is who she is. I have 8 aunties, all born in Selma, Alabama. They was not down with my wife. My sister, bless her heart, she passed 2 years ago. I was married a white woman. She was not cool with it. I had to go have a talk with her, like, look here. I'm from this, I grew up hungry just like you. I totally get it. I saw the Ku Klux Klan march. Nobody died for us the right to hate anybody back. You know what I mean? If she got a good heart and she's going to take care of your brother right, my mom is okay with her and told my aunties, y'all don't like it, there's the door. You got to open your heart up because you can't be like that. That does no good. You know what I mean? So I can't say that was they being racist towards my wife by not even wanting to get to know her as an individual, as a person, and see what kind of wife or mother she would be and how she would take care of me. You know what I mean? If the situation were reversed, you would call all of our people racist as hell. All pointy hats Ku Klux Klan members. Everybody here know we would say it. If I said the story about our family treated me this way and was saying blah, 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 we would say the same thing. You know what I mean? And that's how I view it.
This could be a matter of perception, but I've noticed, it seems to me that Southern black men seem to be more apt to marrying or being involved with white women. It's like and that's almost like, you're like, well, damn, they're down south. How is that?
Because it's almost like, a spite you kind of attitude. Like,
sleeping with the enemy.
I can pull one of yours too.
But the thing with the thing that I noticed about that too, though, is that you see more racism up north than you do. I mean, it's more covert up here.
Yeah.
Is kind of blatant down south, but at least you know where everybody is coming from. Up here, it's like you could be sitting next to this guy thinking that you're okay with him and everything is all good, but deep in the recesses of his mind, he can't stand your black.
That's the can I can't stand.
Yeah.
It's a good song. Obviously, this is going to be an issue for, still is. It's a good song. You know, anyone to join the next one, please do. We got some guests coming in, so we'll be back.
I'm still just a bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be allowed, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called